All right, let's talk about the invisible force that runs pretty much every single digital device you own. Today, we are going to pull back the curtain on the operating system. I mean, really think about it for a second. You tap an app on your phone, and it just works, right? You save a document, and you trust it'll be there later. There's this silent, invisible manager working behind the scenes 24/7, making it all happen seamlessly. So, who or what is this manager? Well, that manager has a name, and it has a very, very important job. So let's get right into it. Okay, so if we're going to get formal about it, the textbook definition says an operating system is a program that acts as a bridge, an intermediary between you, the user, and the actual physical hardware, the nuts and bolts of your device. But, a much simpler way to think about it is this. The operating system, or the OS, is the computer's ultimate manager. It is the boss, the coordinator, the one making sure everything gets done. So, if the OS is a manager, how do we know if it's doing a good job? Well, like any manager, it has key performance indicators, or KPIs, a set of core goals it has to hit. And what's on that list? I mean, every good manager has a core set of goals they have to achieve every single day. The operating system is absolutely no different. So here are its three main goals. First, its job is to make your life easier, to make solving your problems simple. Second, it has to make the whole computer system just convenient and intuitive to use. But, and this is the real trick, while it's doing all that for you, its third job is to use the computer's hardware, like its processor and memory, as efficiently as humanly possible. It's this constant, delicate balancing act. And that balancing act is a really big deal because it means our OS manager is basically juggling two totally different jobs at the exact same time. And this is where it gets really interesting. On one hand, the OS is a resource allocator. Think of it like a project manager for a construction site. It decides which app gets to use the CPU, how much memory each one gets, and it plays referee between any conflicting requests to make sure everything is fair and efficient. But on the other hand, it's a control program. This is more like the security guard. It's enforcing the rules, making sure every program behaves itself and doesn't do anything to cause errors or, crash the whole system. But you gotta wonder, right? A manager this smart has to be flexible. Does it really use the same management style for a massive data server as it does for your tiny little smartwatch? No way. And this is where you can see just how much the OS has to adapt. For a big, shared server, it's all about fairness, balancing the needs of tons of different users at once. Now, for your personal laptop, the focus shifts entirely to making things easy and super fast for you. Then you've got your phone, where the top priorities become usability and, maybe most importantly, battery life. And for something like a smart thermostat, well, that OS is designed for almost zero user interaction. The manager completely changes its priorities depending on the job. Okay, so we know our manager's goals and its priorities. But who or what is it actually managing? Well, it's time to meet the team, the computer's hardware. Any great manager is only as good as their team. And for the operating system, that team is made up of all the physical parts whirring away inside your device. Let's meet the key players. First up, you've got the central processing unit, the CPU. This is the brain of the whole operation. The OS is the one giving the brain its assignments, telling it which calculations to run and which instructions to execute at any given millisecond. Next on the team is memory. This is like the team's combined workspace and its long-term filing cabinet. The OS is in charge of this entire space, deciding what information needs to be out on the desk for the CPU to grab quickly and what can be filed away for later. Then we have the input and output devices, or I/O. We're talking about your keyboard, your mouse, your screen. Basically, these are the tools you use to talk to the computer, and the OS manages that entire conversation. It translates your clicks and types into commands the system understands. And finally, holding everything together, you have the system bus. The best way to think about this is like the internal highway system connecting the brain, the memory, and all the other devices. The OS acts as the traffic controller, making sure data gets where it needs to go, quickly and without any crashes. So when you put it all together, the operating system isn't just a manager. It's more like the invisible conductor of a really complex hardware orchestra. It's making sure every single component plays its part at precisely the right time, creating that seamless digital harmony that you experience every day. And all of this leaves us with one big final thought. Computers are in our cars, our homes, our watches. They're literally everywhere.
So the question becomes, as these devices get woven even more deeply into the fabric of our lives, what new skills, what new jobs will their operating systems have to learn next?